So what we've got to talk about today might just frost the cookies of a lot of YouTubers out there. And so you might want to hold on to your hat in this episode of Hanging Out with Popsy Guy. Here I am once again in February, blessed enough to be able to walk on the beach, Johnson's Beach in Perdido Key, Florida. And I got to thinking this morning, actually late last night, as I'm apt to do, laying in bed watching the ceiling fan spin. What do I want to talk to my friends about who hang out with Popsy Guy? Well, it dawned on me that I've spent a lot of time on YouTube listening to people talk about side hustles. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I absolutely hate the term side hustle. Now, there are some well-meaning YouTubers out there who are retired, who have decent pensions coming in, investment income, Social Security. And what they do is they find themselves kind of bored. You know, they've worked their whole lives and now all of a sudden they're not needed anymore to show up at the office and run a business and do the things that they've been doing most of their lives. But yet they find themselves with so much time on their hands that they're actually looking for what we call purpose. Now, those are not the people who need a what's called side hustle. I'm sorry, you're not needing a side hustle. First of all, if you Google what side hustle is, you may not want to associate yourself with the modern slang and how it's interpreted in today's culture. It's not something to be proud of to say you have a side hustle if you're 62 years old, retired, got a lot of money coming in that you don't really need, but you're looking for purpose in your life. That's the part that's going to frost the cookies of a lot of well-meaning YouTubers who tell you this is the side hustle that makes them fulfilled. See, when you and I were growing up, you didn't have a full-time job. You needed to go find a full-time job. And you may have also had two part-time jobs. But let me ask you this. If you go to a restaurant and you order a meal, you say you want the salad on the side, you want a side of fries, or anything of that nature, you know that that side is not part of the main thing. So what I'm saying is if you don't have a full-time job, yeah, you've got a bunch of part-time jobs like me. So that's the part that kind of wanted to get that off my mind. Don't be afraid to say, listen, just like me, Popsy Guy has been very transparent about this. Yeah, I lost two jobs in 2 years. When we moved to Pensacola in October of 2022, I was making a six-figure income working as a recruiter for a very large international firm as a remote job, had been doing it for over 6 months, and the company was growing, and they kept saying, we're hiring more people, we're just blowing out at the seams. So my wife and I felt very confident we were able to make this move and start really stashing some money aside because we weren't able to do that years prior. It was 1 month to the day that I got laid off from that job. So we had just moved, pulled up stakes, moved down to a place where we know nobody. I mean, yes, it's beautiful, but now I'm out of work. So what do? You scramble. You put your resume together. You call people you know. You get on LinkedIn. You do everything that they tell you to do as a job coach. And quite frankly, I was a recruiter, so apparently I knew all the ins and the outs and the secrets to finding a good job. Well, that didn't help me any. But I did find a job, and that lasted 8 months before that company closed up and let me go. So here I am at the ripe old age of 61 without a full-time job. So guess what I did? I looked for part-time work. I didn't say I need to go find a side hustle to make money. I said I need to go find work to make money. But finding a full-time job at age 61, as you well know, if you've been in this situation, is not easy. I've said it before and I'll say it again, ageism is a real thing. Yeah, I've got awesome experience and I come with all kinds of credentials and yada, yada, yada. But that and $2 won't buy you a cup of coffee. So I ended up just looking for work anywhere I could find it. And I've shared with you that I love driving. And so now I'm going to kind of move this conversation into the part-time jobs I've held that worked out well and some that didn't work out so well. And I am not going to call them side hustles because I was just hustling to make money. And I'm shout out to a man named Martin Blair. Martin is, I think he's 61 and might even be 62 now. But I think he is in a similar situation. You should check out his channel. He's up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And he's found himself in a similar situation. And so I kind of sympathize, not sympathize. Martin and I have a similar story. Is he's doing what he needs to do to make it happen. And so he's a courier for I don't know if it's a medical company or transportation. He picks up prescription drugs and things that, not really sure what the exact, he takes stuff back and forth. And he also does Uber Eats. And he just did a video on which one pays him better. So I did that too. I did Uber Eats. I worked for a company, Bravado Health, which was a non-medical transport, kind of like they called it the Uber of the medical industry, where my job was to pick up people who needed to go to the doctor, bring them to their doctor's appointments, wait for them to come out, and bring them home, which I loved, but I didn't make any money. Matter of fact, I lost money because the company only pays you for the miles when you have somebody in the car and you're either bringing them to the appointment or bringing them home from the appointment. And I had to drive 25, 30 miles just to get to the person's home, then pick them up and maybe bring them 6, 8, maybe 9 miles to their medical provider. And I would only get paid for that portion of the trip. And I would wait, and you know how long it takes for people to get through their appointments, and then I'd bring them home and only get paid for that. So I did that for probably 2 months, ran the numbers on it and said, I'm getting crushed. I can't do this anymore. So that's when I landed at the pizza place that I'm at now, delivering pizza 15 hours a week. And I love it. And the reason I love it is it's a no-stress job. I'm by far the oldest person in the building. And I get paid an hourly rate. I get a reimbursement for the miles I put on my car. They give me a small stipend for what they call technology or personal use of my phone, right, for the internet. And then I get tips. But the best part of the job is when I walk up to your door and I knock on your door and you open it, you see me, you smile. Not because I'm a good-looking dude. It's because I've got hot pizza for you and your family. I love that. I'm able to bring joy to people, everybody, even if we're so slammed and so busy that it takes a while. Very rarely, and I'm going to say 1 out of 20, maybe 1 out of 30 people will say, "What happened? What took you so long?" Most people are quite the opposite. They're very, very understanding. So I love that job, and that's the job I'm doing now. That's not a side hustle. I collect Social Security. I deliver pizza. My wife works as a part-time registered. She works at a pharmacy. She's not a pharmacist. She's a pharmacy tech. And we both collect Social Security. And I'm hoping someday, if the good Lord's willing, to monetize this channel and earn a little bit of money from here. So that's the diatribe I want to share with you. Don't use the term side hustle unless you're coming out of prison. And Google it and you'll understand why I said that. Don't be afraid at 60 plus years old to say, I've got a couple of part-time jobs. I have more respect for somebody who says, I'm working 2 part-time jobs to maintain my standard of living than somebody that says, I've got passive income coming through a side hustle. Oh, I don't like that. As a matter of fact, being a YouTuber, they say you can earn passive income being a YouTuber. This is not passive. I'm working. Yeah, I am absolutely blessed to be on the beach and talk to you, but it's not passive. If you invest in a stock portfolio and you're getting dividends quarterly, that's passive income. You didn't do anything to earn that. The company just paid you back a portion of your own money in a dividend, and you don't have to do anything to earn it. That's passive income. So please, people, let's stop talking in this culture that it's just, I'm an old man now. I'm starting to sound like a grumpy old man, but I just don't like it when we appropriate words that don't mean what we think they mean. And if you've ever seen The Princess Bride, you know that famous phrase is, I do not think that means what you think it means. So anyway, be proud of what you're doing. If you're in the world that Martin and I are in, and thousands, if not tens of thousands, of YouTubers are in a similar situation and they're sharing their stories with you, be proud to say you've got part-time work. If you're waiting to go on Social Security and you're looking for an answer on whether to take it at 62 or 65, as I said in a previous video, that decision may not be yours. It may be thrust upon you like it was for me, and I believe thousands of others who are in the similar situation. So I wanted to share that with you, and I'm asking for you to help me with your comments. Tell me if this resonates with you, if this makes sense, if maybe you're in a similar situation and you thought maybe you were all by yourself because it just seems like everybody around you has money and things are going well, and they're living what I call the Facebook life, which is not the true life. What you see on Facebook is not how people are actually living their lives. So I think this platform and the conversations that we're having, they're true life. And this is a community where people who are in have experienced the same things can get together and talk about those experiences and not feel alone. Because unfortunately, in the world that we live in right now, we're taught to maintain a stiff upper lip, not let anybody know how we're really doing. I mean, if you're a guy like me, when somebody says how you doing, your automatic knee-jerk response is to say, fine, how are you? And you just turn it right around. It's okay to say to somebody, you know what? Not having a good day. If you're a Christian and the person you're talking to is a Christian, my guess is to say, well, tell me about it. Let's pray together. And if you're not, that's okay too. It's not bad to tell somebody what's happening in your life, as long as you, how do I say this without sounding cold and hard? As long as you have a plan to try to move on. Don't wallow in the past. There's a whole industry out there, and you know exactly what I mean when I say they just want to bring you back into your past, have you dig up things that happened 50 plus years ago, 30 plus years ago, things of which you have zero control over, and they just want to dig at it like an open sore, as if that's going to help. I don't know. It may not. But I do know that in Scripture, Paul says he doesn't look behind him. He doesn't look at all the things that have happened to him in the past. He looks forward. And that's what I want you to do too. So here's what Popsy Guy wanted to share with you on this walk on the beach today is be proud. If you're looking to work, you don't have full-time work and you're pasting it together with a couple of part-time jobs, call it a part-time job. Don't call it a side hustle. Number two, if something's going on in your world and you need to talk to somebody, reach out. That's what this community is for. You know, ding me in a comment and somebody else will read your comment. The conversation will go and you'll feel better. That's what I'm hoping. That's really what I'm hoping this channel does. In the meantime, I had an awesome weekend with the grandchildren. We had all the kids, all 6 grandchildren together at my son's house out in, east of here in Tallahassee. My daughter and her family drove down from Knoxville, Tennessee, five kids. The 8+ hour drive turned into over 12 because of the number of stops I had to make. But my wife and I were absolutely blessed to be part of that. I got some great stories I'm going to tell you. My last story. My 2-year-old grandson just turned 2. How old are you? 2. He couldn't stop walking around going, Popsy, Popsy, Popsy. And I'd be like, what? He just learned how to say Popsy. He didn't really, I mean, he wanted to hang out with me, but he was just so happy that he could say Popsy. It was so darn cute. All right, well, listen, I'm not going to bore you with grandchildren stories. You've got plenty of your own, but let me know what they are, man. I want to hear it. I really do. So here we are at Johnson Beach, as I said, Perdido Key, Florida. You can see that. I believe that's a pelican. Oh, you can see him. But he's got no worries in the world. Right? He's just looking for his next meal, and he's going to be fine. I want you to understand that you're much better than the pelican. God's got you in the palm of his hand. He's going to feed you and take care of you. Just trust in him. All right, well, this is Popsy Guy signing off. So glad you took the time to hang out. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Take care.